out about this application. I'd like, before we start, to introduce you to my fellow panelists, Councillor Paul Kohler and where's she gone? Councillor Janice Howard. There she is. Okay. We're also helped today by Guy Bishop from the legal team and by Amy Dumitrescu from the Democratic Services. Okay. Now, a bit of housekeeping. The microphones will be operated for you and will be muted when you're not speaking. The hearing is being live streamed on the Council's YouTube channel. So please be aware that as the meeting is being held virtually, there may be a slight delay. For the benefit of those watching, the subcommittee will be on screen at all times, and all officers and other parties present will be on screen to make their contributions at the appropriate time. So if anyone at any time experiences technical difficulties, please let Amy, the clerk, know. In the event that any party to the hearing loses connection and is no longer present in the meeting, we will adjourn the meeting. That's really important, immediately for a few minutes while we resolve the issue. I hope that doesn't happen, but we genuinely do that. In the event the issues can't be resolved, the meeting will be rescheduled for another date as soon as is practical. So, Amy, would you run through the list of those present, apart from those I've already introduced?
Thank you, Chair. So yes, we have the 3 members of the subcommittee as already introduced, along with the legal officer and 2 democratic services officers. We also have the licensing manager, Paul Brown, is present with us. We also have the applicant, and we have several of the interested parties present, those being Mr. Hashil Shah, Jane Barnes, Neil Kumar. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Okay. Are there any declarations of interest from fellow councillors? No, we're okay. Okay. So the subcommittee will follow the hearing procedures, a copy of which was introduced in the notice pack sent to all parties. That's that thing there. Okay, you're probably reading it back to front, I'm sorry. If anyone's not received the papers, please speak now. I think you all have. Good. Guy, could you inform, well, could you tell us about the pre-meeting we just had?
Sorry, yes, the councillors have a pre-meet just to read the papers and ask questions if they need to clarify what's in front of them, what they're looking at. No legal advice as such is given. It's just a chance for them to talk and understand what the application's about and work out what sort of queries and issues there are.
Thank you very much. And Guy, can you confirm the process for questioning and whether there have been any requests for adjournments?
I'm not aware of any requests for adjournment, and the process is as per the process within the papers that the applicant will present their application. Councillors will then have the opportunity to ask them questions, as will residents who have objected if they want to. And then you will pass over to the residents, and they will be able to have a chance to speak, and you'll be able to ask them questions as you progress. And then at the very end, the applicant will have the ability to sum up as well.
Thank you very much indeed. Now, Paul Brown, you're the licensing officer present. Can you confirm there's any technical issues that should be brought to the panel's attention?
No, Chair, none. There are none. Do you want me to briefly introduce the application, or?
Is that what we do at this stage? Yeah, you might as well. Let's get it moving. Yeah, go on.
Thank you, Chair. We Play Golf Limited have applied for a premises licence in respect of a premises known as We Play Golf, which is located at 82 Durham Road, Rains Park, London Southwest 20, OTL. The applicant has applied for a new premises licence to allow the sale of alcohol for consumption on the premises from 11:30 in the morning until 7 in the evening, 7 days a week. The hours the premises will be open to the public are from 8 in the morning until 7 in the evening, again for 7 days a week. The business intends to provide an indoor virtual golf facility, a cafe offering food and drink, and also a bar. This application was advertised as required by the Licensing Act. We've received no representations from responsible authorities. And from other persons, there have been 6 representations, mainly local residents, regarding public nuisance and concerns around antisocial behaviour and also waste and litter issues. Copies of the representations have been forwarded to the applicant and have been available to this committee. The application form from the applicant is, he has suggested some things for his operating schedule, but you might want to consider including some conditions around a challenge 25, a condition for age restricted sales. But the committee must obviously take such of the following steps as they consider appropriate for the promotion of licensing objectives, namely grant the application, modify the conditions of the license, or reject the whole application. Councillors, I have no further matters to raise, but I'm happy to answer a question or two.
Thank you very much, Paul. Any questions from the councillors to Paul? I think you're in the clear for that one.
Thank you, Chair.
Right, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Okay, now we're going to have the applicant presenting. If you could do that as fairly quickly and with as little repetition as possible. Okay. Are you in a position where you can do that?
Sorry, the mute button's on. Oh,
yes. Yeah. Sorry, we've managed to unmute it now. That's fine. Yeah, as Paul explained, we've obviously put forward our application to allow us to, serve alcohol on the premises, as described in our application for members and people coming to our indoor virtual golf simulator. We do have a little cafe that is, going to be for the use of people coming to play golf, as well as their friends and family. And basically, we would like to be able to serve alcohol to them. As Paul mentioned, there are obviously certain policies that we have had a look at in accordance to what is required to hold a license. We do obviously have someone that's appointed as a designated premises supervisor, and along with that, we do have policy points that we have actually drawn up to ensure that we are looking after things like public safety and public nuisance and noise surrounding the premises, and also protection of children from harm. All of the points which are required.
Do you want to run through those points?
Yeah, obviously, starting first with public safety. Obviously, we're going to ensure that all of our health and safety regulations are adhered to according to the guidelines that are required. We have already made obviously special provision to adhere to the new government guidelines regarding PPE and signage for COVID-19. We will ensure that we have a first aid representative on the premises, to protect anyone if there's any injury to staff or the public. We have ensured that we have disabled facilities available. We have got a ramp that is leading to the entrance of the premises to allow for wheelchair access. We do also have accessible toilets for that exact same use that are readily accessible to the public. And then also, we make sure that we have the required fire safety equipment available and clearly marked any fire exits, and any of that equipment is all clearly marked. With regards to public nuisance and any potential excess noise, we are going to ensure that windows and doors are kept closed during the regulated trading hours as far as possible. The main entrance to the premises does have a double door, so at least one of those will be closed at all times to, obviously reduce the expulsion of noise from the inside of the premises. We have installed sound absorbing foam panels into the actual golf booths, which do reduce the noise coming from those facilities. We have made provision to put notices at the entrance of our premises, just to obviously remind our customers that they need to, be aware of the fact that we do have neighbours, and that they need to ensure that they respect, the fact that noise needs to be kept at a minimum when exiting and entering the premises. Refuse bins will be readily available at the entrance of our property to ensure that, when people are leaving the premises, there is, refuse available for them to reduce the potential littering around the front of the building and into the street in front of the premises. And then we've also we've got designated customer parking bays at the front of the premises. We will also have signage available to advise people where to park. In the road next to the church, adjacent from our property, there is parking. So we will obviously make that information available to our guests, and put it on our website and let them know that if they can't park in our designated parking bays, they need to obviously find alternative parking. And we will also advise them that they need to be mindful of obstructing any traffic. Obviously, we've got the bus that stops very near to where our premises is, so we don't want them blocking any route for buses and any other traffic. And then also just to be mindful of blocking any of our neighbours' driveways. It's obviously something we don't want to have to have any problems with, so we will be advising our customers of these things. And then obviously protection of children from harm is quite an important one for us. We are going to certainly ensure that no children will be on the premises without supervision of an adult. Obviously we would like to keep that to the age of 18, but we will also have a policy in place. You mentioned a Challenge 23, where we've looked at a Challenge 21 policy, where obviously minors won't be served alcohol, and if we think that they are potentially below the age, they will be asked for proof of ID in forms of driver's license or passports. And then also we will definitely have quite a discretionary policy, but it's obviously all of our staff will be made aware that if there is any use of strong language within the premises, or any people making derogatory remarks, or just any general antisocial behaviour, it won't be tolerated by ourselves, and the people that are performing in that manner would be asked to leave the premises, especially because we don't want that type of behaviour around minors.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for that. It was very full. I have to say at this point that some of the issues you've introduced do spill out into more kind of general planning things, but I'm sure the committee will hone it down to what is relevant to this committee, the actual licensing. Now, first of all, the responsible authorities, and I'd imagine that's basically yourself, isn't it, Paul, on this occasion? Do you have any questions for the applicant?
Sorry, no, he has no objection, so he's not speaking in that role.
Oh, all right, okay. So there are no other authorities, so it's the now it's down to the interested parties.
Sorry, Councillor, you may have members may have questions for the applicant now that he's spoken.
Oh, I see. I thought we were going to do the interested parties first.
No, I think we always proceed on the basis that we ask the questions first. So it's
fair dues.
still in your mind.
I was just following a list. Terrible thing to admit to. Right. So it's now down to ourselves, the panelists. Janice. Can you unmute, Janice?
Yep, no, I'm unmuted. I was interested when you were talking about the operation of the golf cafe and bar when it's open. Who is it aimed at? What's the profile of the people that are likely to be there?
Obviously, we focus more on being a specialized golfing facility. We would like to, obviously attract people that are really interested in golf. We do have, lessons that are available for people, but also aimed at people that want to, come and learn about golf and try have fun with golf. Targeting families to, kind of join in together and play golf together. Obviously the area itself is a big golfing community, and we want to make a kind of a specialized facility available for people to enjoy that, but also for people who are wanting to learn.
Okay, thank you.
Paul.
Oh, nothing from me, Chair. Sorry.
Oh no, Paul Curler.
Oh, I beg your pardon.
So many Pauls in the world.
Thank you, too many Pauls. Hi, I've got a few questions. Just to get a feel for the whole application. Did you run the previous children's play area, or are you new owners of the premises?
No, I was involved. Yes, so I'm the partner in the golf. So we ran the soft play area for a number of years. Obviously, with the COVID, it became very difficult, and we've got quite a lot of high rent and rates to pay. We didn't get any relief. And golf was one of the first sports to be opened up, and it just seemed natural to progress into that. And that's where the idea came from. It's more of a, in fact, it'd be less noisier than the children's soft play, because at the time it was more noisier during the daytime. And yeah, it's just one of the things we came up with, and we've installed a very good simulator there.
And how, whilst it was a children's play area, how was the relationship with the community?
Sorry, how the ratio was?
How was the relationship with the community? Did it work well?
It worked well. People were really happy. I think obviously Rains Park's a very family area. It was well run. It was we had a cafe there. There wasn't any problem outside of the nuisance or litter or anything. In general, I mean, when we closed, there were disappointments like anything else when things closed down, which have been serving the community. At the same time, we've had great responses about the golf centre. So equally, I think they'll both do well, in the location it is.
Is it operating at the moment, or are you?
No, it isn't. No.
Okay. And what's the capacity of the premises going to be?
With the nature of golf, the maximum simulators we could install in long term would be around 4 simulators, which can take maximum of 6 people per simulator of a session. So it's a very different nature to a children's soft play, where we had the capacity up to 50 children within the guidelines of safety regulations. And then you'd have the parents in the cafe, and you'd have the kids' parties and on weekends, and it will get quite busy. But with the nature of this particular business, the capacity of what it should be around 40 people. If you had some people in the cafe and you had 4 simulators installed long term.
So that'd be 24 playing and 16 spectators, would it?
If people choose to come and sit in the cafe or spectate, possibly, yeah. I mean, you're saying the maximum capacity will be around that sort of capacity.
So are you saying the cafe is standalone? You could come to the cafe or come for a drink without playing golf?
No, we'd like to keep it within the golfing community to come in there. It's like a golf club with the members. Hopefully, people coming in, having while they're playing or before they start to play, have a drink. Encourage them to spend a little bit of money because obviously we need the revenue from that as well. But it's pretty much linked with the golf simulating.
Just to note that we do run the golf on a membership basis, so we do encourage people. You can of course come in and pay a once-off fee to try it out and what have you, but we do encourage people to join as a member, which incurs an annual fee, and obviously those members, you know, the whole basis of the cafe and you know, being able to serve a drink there, someone to come and have a drink, is for the members to use mostly. But obviously, you know, if they do have family members that aren't members, they would be most welcome to, you know, join them with a member.
Okay, sorry, I'm being obtuse, so let me just drill down into this a little bit. Are you saying that anyone using the cafe, wait a minute, first of all, are we saying cafe or are we saying bar? Are we saying you're only requiring drink with food, or are you saying drink can be sold on its own?
I think we obviously we will do drinks on its own, because some people might, you know, while they're playing, they might have a pint, you know.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll offer some sort of tapas food and snacky food, and you know, something that goes along with that sort of nature of the business.
Okay, I'm still unclear. Are we saying that drink is ancillary to the golf, or are we saying people could come in there just for a drink? As
we said, we'd encourage members. They don't have to be. Our members don't have to be playing per se to have alcohol, but they could come in. You know, if you're a member of a golf club, you can go to your golf club and you know, watch the golf or come chat to the pro about something and then have a drink afterwards. You know, that would be available. It wouldn't be disallowed.
Okay, I'm just going to get clear exactly what you're applying for. So,
okay.
So you're applying for drinks with or without food, and you're saying people could come in for food or drink without playing golf just because they could come in, full stop. That's what you're applying. Okay.
Can I just query that?
Provided they're members, I believe.
Provided they're members, that's the question. Yes.
Or guests of members, I assume.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay. Paul, is that the end of your question?
No, I've got a few more, I'm afraid. Sorry. I see you're closing at 7. Is there not more of a market after 7 than there is on a wet Wednesday afternoon?
There is. At the moment, we're originally the children's soft play. We have made an application for extension of license. Yeah, you're absolutely right. The golfing is a nature which we could take it a little bit later. But we were told that we can only apply for the license as to the opening hours that we're allowed currently, and we are looking to review that.
Sorry, that's a planning condition, isn't it?
That's right, yes.
So it's 8 till 7 is the planning conditions.
That's right. So hence we were told to apply for the license. That we can't apply for the license any longer until we've got that condition changed.
So you're envisaging it being open later in the long run?
Yes, we are going to try.
Till when? Just out of interest, till when?
Sorry?
Till when? What's your
maximum? I reckon 10 is more than reasonable. Any later than that, it doesn't really. I can't see golfers want to come in after 10 o'clock playing a round of golf, which would take you up into 11:30. So you know, a good game between 4 people would take about an hour and a half.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I think we should really be looking at the application that's actually in front of us.
I can ask that question, I think. With regard to smoking, what are your plans for smokers?
No smoking at all everywhere else. There's no smoking.
No, but what are your plans for those?
We have got an outside area.
Where would they go?
We have on an area outside where they can go out and have a smoke and then come back in like anywhere else.
Where is that? Outside in the street, you mean?
No, we've got it within our premises. So as you enter on the left-hand side, facing the entrance, there's a little area which they can just come out and have a smoke.
Sorry, that's behind the building or in front of the building? I'm unclear.
In front of the building. In front of the building. There's no rear access to the building.
All right, so out in the front, we're talking about for smokers.
Yeah, on the side, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But not completely on the pavement.
Right.
It's quite away from the pavement itself.
Okay.
It's about 10 meters.
Okay, and the roof, are you envisaging the roof being accessible by clientele?
The roof, no.
No, that's not accessible at all.
No.
No, okay. And lastly, you say you used to run the children's the children's play area. What experience do you have of licensed premises?
I've been a licensee for 30 years within Wandsworth and Rains Park. I've owned the restaurant Olive Garden in Rains Park for over 20 years. I've been a licensee in Southfields since 1992, with experience of running restaurants and cocktail bars.
Okay.
I'm still currently a licensee in Rains Park.
Okay, thank you. Thanks, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Janice, Councillor Howard, if you'd like to.
Yes, I was just wanted a bit more detail. If you're allowing people to smoke outside, would you be allowing them to take their alcoholic drinks outside and other food and drink?
No.
That's really helpful.
So how would that be managed?
Well, you would leave your drink inside. If you want to have a cigarette, you would just go. You just let us know. We'd let you out because we've got a door policy anyway. There's a system. You need to press a buzzer before you come in, because that system was there for the children's soft play, which you've still kept. So we and the exiting door is right in front of past the bar. So we would make sure that they haven't got a drink with them to go outside, and we'll have notices up.
And you're intending that this is a member-only facility, and members can bring guests in, or so people just walking along in the street can't just go in and say, "I'd like a pint of beer."
They can come in, but we, as we said, we would like to keep it to a members basis and members inviting their guests. Obviously, we'd encourage people to come in and have a look. And see the premises and see if it's something that they would like to become a member of, definitely, but not someone coming and making themselves, it's not going to be like a local bar where someone could come in every day and have a drink if they're not a member.
Yeah.
Also, if you're booking the simulator for a session with friends, then you'll be allowed to, people who are using the simulators for the golfing area would be allowed to use the bar and the food facilities. So a family of four don't necessarily, or friends, 4 golfers don't have to be members. If they wish to, just like a golfing range, they can book. It's for the people that are using the facilities of the golfing. We're giving that service.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to come in on that one, actually, if I may. What you're saying is that somebody can come in and look at the premises, which obviously is you want them to do, to see what it's about. Does that person then is that person then able to stop off in the cafe bar and have a drink?
If they're using the golfing facility, yes.
They would be allowed to use. So theoretically, it's not a members only bar.
No.
But if someone's booked to use the facility, or they walk in and they'd like to play around the golf on the simulators, then they're welcome to have a drink, even though they're not a member. But they have to be using our golfing facility. That's what the whole thing's there.
if you're just looking, if you just take a quick look in there and say, nah, but I want to drink anyway, would you be able to do that?
Not alcoholic drink, no, I don't think so. That's not what we're aiming at.
Okay.
We're aiming at being a
No, that's not what you're aiming at, or that's not won't be available. I thought you said to me that people could come in there just for a drink. Are you saying that's not going to be the case?
If they're with a member, that's what I said.
I think it's prospective members, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so it is a members club where guests can come. Are you now saying that to me?
We've said that originally, yes. Guests are more than welcome.
Yes, that's different.
Yes, but not people off the street. They can't come in.
Well,
Unless they're looking at the facilities to become a member.
What if you, A, not using the facility, or B, not a guest of a member, or C, not a member yourself?
I'm going to ask you to be really, really clear on this to me, because I know the questions that will be asked, that it could be put to you that people will be able to walk along the street, looking at your premises, think, they're serving booze. I'll go and have a look at the golf, the golf, say, no, it's not for me, but I want to drink anyway, and therefore that turns you into an open drinking establishment. Can you understand that idea?
Yeah, I completely understand you. As I said, there's three points that we've made that someone can come there and have a drink. So the first one being if they are a member. Second one being if they are a guest of a member.
Yeah.
Third one being if they are using the golf facility, either via a walk-in if there's a slot available, or if they've made a reservation to use the golf facility.
Okay. That's much clearer in my mind. There's just one point I'd like to press you on from my position, and it isn't totally germane to what we actually have in front of us, but it will quell suspicions if that's correct. I want to go back to the roof terrace. There's been a lot of objection on the basis that there's a potential there for opening a roof terrace which looks out over other areas. This isn't applicable to the licenses in front of us. It's applicable more to planning issues. But nevertheless, I would like your absolute assurance that you have no intention at this precise moment in time of using that roof terrace for anything to do with the golf.
There is absolutely no access from the downstairs to the roof terrace, and the likelihood that is yes, absolutely no. We have no intention of using the roof terrace, and access is not readily available from the golf simulating play area. So it's completely separate.
Thank you. No, you've answered it. Thank you very much. I have no further questions. So we're now going on to presentations by the interested parties. It says in order of agenda.
I think if they've got any questions first, Chair.
Questions first. Sorry, I do beg your pardon. Jane Barnes. Good morning, by the way. Love to see you again.
Good morning. Some questions. Can you please tell me why, given what you've said, the advertising outside the premises places more emphasis on the cafe than it does on the We Play Golf? And can you also please tell me why, if you're not intending to have people eating and drinking outside, have you set up a fenced off area with artificial grass, and which pre-lockdown, when you were briefly open, had tables and chairs? For the benefit of those who are not familiar with this premises, there is a door direct into this area from the cafe part of We Play Golf. And can I also ask why, given what you have said about the roof area, does it say WPG on the door coming out onto that area? And finally, and perhaps you can correct me if I've got this wrong, but as I understand it, you were actually, in the brief period when you were open, you were actually advertising for people to come in and have breakfast on the premises. And this was an offer, as I understood it, to members of the public. So could we just please have some clarification?
Gentlemen? I think they might have frozen. Amy, can you help? Oh, I think they're coming. There they are.
Okay, I think we're fine now. Yeah, thank you for your question, Jane. Just firstly, on your first point with regards to the signage being more prominent towards being a cafe, I think that's probably maybe your point of view. We've got two signs advertising the golf, where the front of the building advertising that we do have a cafe in there. So I wouldn't say it is more prominent. Secondly, with regards to the outside area, we didn't say that we wouldn't be serving anything out there. People during the day are more than welcome to have a coffee out there and what have you. But we did make a point that we wouldn't be serving any alcohol out in that area. Further to your questions regarding the roof terrace, as we discussed earlier, there is no access via the premises to that roof terrace. The sign that you see there is just an opportunistic sign that we put. Obviously, previously there was nothing there, and you could see the extraction unit that was there. And it was a bit of an eyesore, so we thought it'd be a good spot for us to put a sign up to advertise the premises. And the golfing side of the premises, you'll note that being the biggest sign available or visible on the front of the building, it is purely advertising the virtual golf. Was the last one? Sorry, quite a few questions.
I think it was the breakfast one. The breakfast one.
The breakfast one is still under the current Simbad's operation, and with Simbad's we always had that facilities available, and it's been running as a cafe for the last 3-4 years. So that nothing had changed there.
But also just to note, we're just, obviously for a very brief period, it was about 2 weeks that we were able to operate before we were forced to shut. We are trying to appeal to prospective members to join us, and that's obviously the base of where we're going to get our clientele. So initially when we did open, we did want to make these things attractive to people and for people to come and have a look. I think serving breakfast is, as Amish has quite rightly said, it is something that always was available. So it's nothing.
Hello? Have we lost?
Frozen again, I think.
Yeah.
I think we lost you there, but we seem to be back on.
Okay. I think that so that's Jane's questions. Who's our next representative? Is it Neil Kumar? Is that right?
Hi there. Yeah.
Hello, Mr. Kumar.
Hi. How's it going? I mean, Jane's actually asked very similar questions to what I was going to ask. I'm sorry if this is a point of repetition, but I'm not 100% clear on what the licensing application is in terms of serving alcohol I know this has been explained a couple of times, but in different ways each time, around members and guests, but you can walk in from the public and order a pint, but you have to have had a look at the golfing facility. It seems a little bit ambiguous to me still at the moment. And firstly, in terms of what the actual application is, but secondly, how this would be enforced. If there's this element of vague or ambiguity in the application, it's going to be even harder or even looser in reality. So, without being too forward, I just wanted a bit more of a cleaner understanding of what the alcohol sales is going to be on the premises, who would be purchasing it, and what's the application for, not the intention for the business. I understand that you want people to be members and the guests of the members to join, but you're applying for a broader application than just that, is my current understanding. Is that correct?
Neil, yeah, thank you. I think we may have cleared this up a few times before. Yeah. As I said, there's three ways in which someone could come there and be served alcohol. The first one being is if they are themselves a member. Okay. The second one being if they are a guest of a member. All right. And then the third one being is if they are using the golfing facility. So there's booths that you can book, and if you make a booking or you are with a party that has made a booking, so say for example, I have a birthday party and I've invited 4 friends to come with me, and 3 of them are playing golf and the 4th one doesn't play golf or what have you, or someone's brought their wife with, and they are there viewing their friends playing golf, then they would be a guest of a member or guest of a playing person. Then they would be allowed to consume alcohol on the premises and purchase alcohol.
Understood. So in terms of the application, is there going to be a limitation within your licensing that restrains the clientele to those 3 areas you've listed out, or is the application just for the open sale of alcohol to people on the premises?
Well, we've made the application to sell alcohol to people on the premises, but we have been asked what our intention of the use of that license is, and as I've just explained to you and explained to the 2 other people that asked before, that is how we intend to use it.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the answer then is no, I guess. So the application is going to be broader than the application is for anyone. That's
unfortunately, when you make an application, on the application form, there isn't, these specifics aren't on there. So it doesn't say, who exactly is going to be allowed to come into your premises and be served alcohol. And, this is a question that's been brought forward to us in this exact meeting. It's not something that you can stipulate on your application form. So, in answer to the question for the 3rd time, that is how we intend to do it going forward.
So just to be clear,
we've had a license on and off license. I've held an on and off license in premises in restaurants and bars, and we've made the application. But in restaurants, I've had applications where people can come in and drink without food and whatever. But we've chosen not to go down that route because we don't want it to become a drinking den or anything like that. So it's a matter of how you actually want to run it long term and have a place, more emphasis on the golf centre rather than the drinking pub area, because we don't really want that clientele. And there's thousands of pounds spent on the simulators, and everybody knows that with alcohol and pubs and whatever, that could be abused. So we haven't invested hundreds of, you talk about literally a lot of money spent in the simulators to having that sort of clientele in the place. And nor Durham Road, I've lived in the area since I was 8-10 years old, and I went to school here and whatever, so I know. I've been in the area 40 years. So it's not something we actually want to run or encourage.
Okay. To be absolutely clear,
Paul, before you come in, Mr. Kumar, Neil, is there anything more you need to ask at this stage?
Yeah, there was just to finish that point, and then there was one other question. I mean, I think the point for me is, I mean, in that area, there's no bars, right? There are, there's a few restaurants where you can have a drink while you're eating, and equally if you're, so I think following that, what the neighbouring businesses sell, I'm trying to discourage a bar being opened under camouflage. And I guess the point being with golfing, you don't tend to have a pint when you're playing golf in real life, but that's around the business, I guess. My only other question was on the roof. I live with my back garden backing onto the roof, and it's got quite a lot of materials on the roof at the moment. There's a group, I think Jane mentioned there's graffiti WPG sprayed on the back, which was kind of misleading, giving us the impression that was going to be open as a roof terrace, which you clarified. But there still is a lot of materials on that roof. There's kind of silver metal cylinders being stored up there at the moment. And you mentioned there's no intention of using that, but it just wanted to clarify it's not going to be used as a store area or anything like that as well.
Nothing's changed, nothing. Yeah, it's not going to be used as storage or anything.
Would it be possible, just for the sake of putting people's minds at rest, to say that this is not, I have to say, not relevant to the application in front of us today, but just to just put people's minds at rest, to say that what is being stored on that roof at the moment is temporary storage, and it will be actually used as part of the construction of what you're doing.
There's just a couple of bits of the extraction pipe work. There's really not there's nothing on the roof as such. And yeah, if there's a few things we can take it away. It's been there for years. It's not
that's as maybe, but people have raised it as an objection. I know it's not germane to what we're talking about today, but would you clear it up?
Can I just, so on the membership, are you happy then, if that's the conditions we impose, put this membership requirement, are you happy with that, first of all?
Who are you asking the question of, Paul?
The applicants.
Can you ask the question again?
Sorry.
Oh, did you hear that? Are you happy that that we put in the conditions of the license all the restrictions you have said with regard to membership and who can use it?
Well, the 3 points, if those are the conditions that we're going to be granted a license under, and if you feel that that's the only way that we're going to receive a license, then we've already stated that that's how we intend to use it.
So that would work perfectly, wouldn't it? We're only imposing conditions you're going to act by anyway. My last question is, what will the membership be? What are we talking about? A fee every year or a gratuitous membership?
Yeah, so there is a fee. There is a fee involved. It's an annual fee, and you do get a membership card, so people are identifiable as members, included in that membership fee. And then with that membership, they do get certain benefits as members.
And as our condition might relate to that membership, well, what sort of fee are we talking about?
We've currently got it at £50 per year, but we're not, that's obviously up for review. We're not going to say that that's what it's going to be exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so on to our next interested party. Who else wants to speak?
Yeah, hi there.
Hello,
hi, I'm Herschel Shaw. Yeah, thanks a lot for that. I do again have some questions that theoretically may have been already covered, but I'm still keen to get this clarification in terms of So you say we want to keep this as a members only, predominantly members only establishment, but who can bring in guests? Like what sort of numbers of guests are we talking about? Are you restricting the number of guests, or can I, as a member, book a party for 50 people, and all of them get served alcohol?
Well, as per our limitations, we wouldn't take a booking for people, 50 people, especially in these times.
Okay, 15 people then.
If you were a member and you would like to host a birthday party for yourself, we would or like if a business would like to book something for their end of year, whereby their employees come in and they play golf, and we set up a couple of 4 balls, and there's a little bit of a competition between certain groups within the group of employees. We would welcome something like that. That's something that we would definitely do. And yes, they would be able to have alcohol, but that's something that's in a controlled environment. It's a member that's part of our golf club essentially, and they are exposing potential to the venue as well. So that's something definitely we would be interested in. But as I said, that's something that's booked in advance. It's in a controlled environment, and depending on the size, it would be a private event. So the people that are in there would be with the member for their private birthday party, or for the small work function, something like that. So we would limit the number of public people or other members or whatever you allowed in there.
So
sorry, can I just step in and assist here? Legal advice, I suppose you call it. This is dealt with under separate legislation. This is dealt with by the fire brigade legislation that deals with capacities in premises. So effectively, capacities under risk assessment, which is submitted to the fire brigade, are the total number of people that could be in the premises. I just think you need to be aware that there is a separate piece of legislation that deals with the capacities that would be in the premises, and that would limit whatever numbers there would have to be.
Yeah, no, that's not my point here. My point is just around as a member, how many guests would I be allowed to bring? Just, it doesn't have to be a special party. It doesn't have to be anything. Just as a member, how many guests am I entitled to?
Well, to be honest, we haven't set a policy limitation on that. It's I don't foresee people walking in with 30 guests and saying, hey, we'd like to. As I said, if all 30 of those people that came in, they were using the golfing facility, that is one of the points that we've said now. I'm saying for the 5th time now, is that there's 3 ways in which you can be served alcohol on the premises. That's if
I got that. I got that. It was just to me, it was just a straightforward question. Well, what's your membership? As a member, how many guests am I allowed to bring? That was all. But it feels like you haven't quite worked that out, decided what it is that you want to do on that front.
No, it's been answered.
But
Guy, what are you going to say, Guy?
A few times.
I'm just saying that question's been answered.
It has been
answered in the sense that there's somebody who is there to play golf. They may not be a member, they're there to play golf, so they can have a drink. That's one of the 3 options you put forward.
It is. I see what you're saying, Guy. I appreciate also what Mr. Shah is saying. He's talking about the second type where somebody brings in guests while he or she is playing golf, and Mr. Shah is actually just saying how many, and we haven't had an answer to that as yet, but it's something that we can actually work with. It's a pertinent question, and it's something which I'm sure that the applicant will be thinking about. Okay.
Yeah, sorry, and before I finish, there was one more thing. I had a flyer through the door from We Play Golf, I think about a month ago, and you have advertised that WPG Grill House Cafe is an in-house cafe open to the public and not only the golfers. Breakfast till lunch and great takeaway or sit-down coffee. So are we saying that this has changed now from a month?
We talk about an alcohol license here. So takeaway coffee is not alcohol. So we were now talking about who is allowed to consume alcohol on the premises.
Okay, so what I don't understand is how do you monitor that then? So you can have anyone come in from the public because they're having, takeaway coffee or sitting down as for your breakfast or lunch, but then
alcohol license. So we were just we were continuing on what we were carrying on. But we had the license for a cafe, which is what we were trading on. We never had a license. So
okay, so I just want clarity then.
Mr. Kumar, maybe I can help you again. You don't have to have a license.
Mr. Bishop,
sorry, I do need to answer this. You don't have to have a license to be able to sell coffees and teas and food during the day. There's no license requirement for that.
But that's not my question.
We're talking about an alcohol license here.
It's not my question. It's my question.
Again,
my question was.
If I may interrupt, I understand where Mr. Shah is coming from. He's sort of saying, if you're going into the premises to order takeaways and you're not a member and everything like that, what's to stop you buying alcohol at the same time? Is there a specific thing on the bar or at the counter which sort of says you ain't going to buy alcohol if you're only ordering a takeaway?
I think this just really goes back to answering the same question in a different way. I've explained that there's 3 ways in which someone could be served alcohol on our premises.
Understood.
If it's takeaway coffee or anything else, you don't need a license to do that. You can serve that type of thing to anyone. We are talking specifically with regards to our application for a premises license in order for us to be able to serve alcohol to
absolutely
types of people.
When the
member.
Hang on, Jane.
Could I just come in here and say, when that flyer went round, just to be clear, you weren't operating as Simbad Soft Play. You were operating as We Play Golf. So as far as members of the public were concerned, we were seeing that as inviting members of the public to come in to enjoy whatever was on offer from the cafe. And we're, of course, concerned that actually...
I'm going to answer that for the applicant, if you like. At the time, they didn't have a license. They weren't. We are here to discuss whether they get a license or not. This is not that flyer is in the nicest possible way. It is a red herring because it relates to a time when they didn't have a license.
No, I don't agree with that at all.
I do understand why it would raise concerns for a resident, but it is, in the strictest terms of what we're looking at today, it is a red herring, and I'd like us to move on, if I may.
No, can I just say that's totally unfair. Jane's absolutely right to bring up that point. It goes to exactly what we're looking at now. It also goes to my question earlier when I asked, were you running it? You said no. Well, obviously no one's running them during the lockdown, but to say no was pretty disingenuous in my view, because you should have said yes, we were until the lockdown, but...
It did talk about 2 weeks.
I want to hear from the applicant. Sorry.
We did mention that in one of the questions earlier that we were operating, and then we closed.
Not an answer to my question, though.
I'd like us to move on, if we may. We have, is it right? One further person wants to make representations. Is that correct? Does Gupta want to make representations?
It was whether there were any questions left.
Yes.
Before representations, before you go into
sorry, questions. I beg your pardon. Rather representations. Go for it.
Yeah. No.
Hello there.
I just wanted to raise a couple of questions. So, In regards, again, sorry to bring up the roof terrace again, but we had some initial disturbance on the roof terrace from, I believe, a resident that was living there temporarily. So my concern is, can employees go up to the roof terrace and access that area, say on their lunch breaks, or is there going to be?
The roof terrace is not, does not form part of the premises that is known as We Play Golf or 82 Domer. That is, the roof terrace is obviously adjacent to the offices that are separate and the residential premises next door. It's not accessible from the actual premises that we are talking about in relation to the application for the license.
Okay, so no one can access that area and we won't be seeing anyone going up in that area going forward.
Answer that question.
Can we just be clear on the premises, the extent of the premises within the building? Now, as I understand it, looking at the plans, the premises you're applying for a license for actually extends into number 80, which I believe you also own. Is that correct? The golf playing area is part of We Play Golf as the whole of 80 and a bit of the whole of 82 and a bit of 80. And the flat roof that was being talked about extends over the single-story area to the rear of both 80 and 82. So
to make this clear, the application is for number 82, all right? Number 80 is one next door, and the roof is the roof of the rear of 82, but is not accessible via 82. So if you live next door to someone and you are able to access their roof and they can't access their roof from their house, it does not mean, you know, roof of 82 from 82.
So let's just get this absolutely clear, firms. I'm sorry, Dasgupta. I do beg your pardon. That this is not that flat roof, which we've established, is not going to be open to the public. Mr. Dasgupta wants to know if it's going to be part of what the staff can use. I don't know whether it's germane to to what we're talking about, but it may well be useful from the point of view of sorting out the concerns.
I'll tell you, the only time we would need to gain access to that roof is, for example, we may need to do some waterproofing on the roof pretty soon, as we do have these. Okay, for example, the extraction unit for our extraction in the cafe area, you need to access the fan and the hood on that roof. So yes, we need to gain access to the roof to have a look at that. There are also some, bits of plumbing on top of the roof that lead into the bathrooms and things like that. That's the only reason someone would need to gain access to that roof.
That's
granted by ourselves.
So you're talking about maintenance and no other reasons?
No other reasons granted by ourselves.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, just another question. Sorry, that's my child as well.
That's all right. We've all got it.
Apologies. I just have a concern around the noise pollution from the customers leaving the premises, because again, if drinking alcohol, there has a tendency of drunken disorderly issues. So what I understood that you are planning to address this, but I didn't understand any clear examples of how you will address this. So are you planning to put signs up? Are you planning to have any security at the property? What are your plans to address any issues that may come from customers from your establishment.
Okay, as said previously.
Afraid you've frozen again.
Hi, sorry, we lost it there for a sec. Yeah, as previously stated, we are going to have signage, you know, at the exit of our premises. You know, basically just saying to our guests that they need to, you know, respect the fact that we do have neighbours, and ensure that they do keep the noise to a minimum when exiting the premises. You know, obviously that's something that we will control ourselves. We don't foresee the need to have any type of security at our door. As stated before, it's not going to be a pub or nightclub, so that's not necessary from our point of view. And then, you know, obviously, if someone is you know, not adhering to our requests via the signage that we do display, you know, we chat to them, and as I said, majority of the people that are coming there, they are going to be coming there to play golf. They're coming there under bookings to play golf. They're coming there as members or guests of members. Like any golf club in the world, there's a set of rules for members, and if they don't adhere to those rules, they no longer are members. You know, they will have a hearing and they'll be told that they can no longer be a member there, and they're no longer welcome. So I think that type of behavior generally would be discouraged by you know, the fact that people you know, they're a member of the place and they respect the rules of the place. So I don't foresee an issue with the clientele that we are wanting to attract at our premises.
Yeah, that was all my questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Jane, did you have one further question?
Yes, if I could, please. Thank you. I'd just like to go back to talking about the area at the front of the property that you've got this artificial grass on, and where the tables and chairs were. Now, just on the opposite side of the fence there, right immediately opposite, is the private garden of number 84.
Yes.
Now, I'd just like to know, how are you going to stop people taking drinks outside? You've got a door that goes direct from the cafe onto the grassed area. You're going to have people inside drinking. You're going to have people who want to smoke and they've got a drink. They're going to be trying quite hard, I would guess, especially on a nice sunny day, to go and sit outside. It must be very tempting for someone who's drinking, and it's a nice warm day. They want to go outside. They don't want to leave their drinks behind. Yeah. You haven't applied for a license to cover that area, as far as I can see.
We haven't done so.
How do you deal with it?
We haven't done so for a reason, because as we've explained previously, that area is not going to be an area that people are allowed to have alcohol in. And we will make that very clear to our members and their guests, and you know, ensure that there is signage in place explaining that that's a rule. Just like you would have a no smoking sign inside the premises, you would have a sign saying that you're not allowed to consume alcohol outdoors.
So you will allow them to take their food out there. People will be able to eat out there. They'll be able to have a cup of coffee out there. Yeah. But if they want to have a drink with their food, they won't be able to do that.
We've explained that we are applying for a premises license to serve alcohol within the area that we have stipulated. So, you know, no, they won't be allowed to take alcohol outdoors.
I think this is something with respect to both parties that the councillors will actually have to talk about when we go into private session. It is a valid question. Of course, it's a valid question, but there has been an answer given. It's how we interpret that answer that we have to look at. Now, are there any more questions from the representatives? No. In which case we're going to move on to the presentations. So we have three interested parties here, four, sorry, I beg your pardon, interested parties here, who all of you can make representations. What actually happens is that when you make those representations, first of all, the applicant, and then secondly, us as councillors can ask you questions on them. So who wants to be first? Jane, do you want to be first?
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. I would just like to say a few words about the area where We Play Golf is located. On the opposite side of Durham Road, top to bottom, it's all residential apart from the church. To the south of number 82, towards Rains Park Local Centre, the use is mixed, with the majority of the properties being residential, and the proportion of residential is increasing, with shops and offices currently being converted to residential use. The properties adjoining We Play Golf to the north and south are residential, and the properties to the rear of We Play Golf in Amity Grove are all residential. There are two licensed premises on Durham Road to the south of We Play Golf. They are both restaurants and they only serve alcohol with meals. Now that's quite different to the WPG offering and located closer to the local centre. One's at 84 and one's at number 34. Now, the applicant says in the application that he doesn't want to create a pub culture, but it's still, having answered those questions, having heard all the answers, it's still not clear to me exactly what culture the applicant is trying to create. The food and alcohol will be after those in the virtual golf facility, but their advertising has so far been telling us something quite different. WPG is clearly not a typical restaurant or cafe environment. So is it a bar with the added attraction of virtual golf? The applicant has applied for retrospective planning consent for a change of use to an indoor virtual golf simulator centre with an ancillary cafe. But the advertising at the front of the premises is telling us something quite different, and it's putting the emphasis on the cafe. A licensed premises in this residential area would introduce an unwelcome risk of public nuisance. The lack of clarity on what the client is trying to create here adds to our concerns.
Thank you very much. Applicant. Do you want to respond to that?
Yeah, I'd just like to say that I want to mention that there is a bowls club almost directly across the road from us. You know, if you were to make a comparison, the bowls club is a club that is sports orientated for members of the bowls club, and they do also have a facility in which members who are playing or after playing are allowed to purchase alcohol on the premises without a substantial meal included in that. So, you know, I just think it's something to note that she failed to mention.
Yeah, the Bowls Club is actually located down a fairly lengthy drive around the back of Durham Road, but yes, you are right, they serve alcohol.
Any other questions from yourselves, applicants? No? Questions to Jane from the panel? Janice, Paul, and then me, or whichever order you prefer to be in. Any questions?
Jane, could you just say again, where were the other two places you mentioned located?
They're Hashi and they're Gaia, two restaurants, and one is at number 34, the other at 54.
Thank you.
Okay. I've got just a very brief question for you, Jane, and it probably applies to all the other neighbours. When I was mayor, and admittedly that is 10 years ago now, I had the occasion, a joyous occasion, to actually go and visit Sinbad and have a cup of coffee and a sandwich there. And it was a lovely, friendly place, but it certainly wasn't a quiet place. Have you in the past been upset by, or have neighbours in general been upset by the amount of noise and activity coming out of Sinbad's?
I have heard of some issues about noise coming from Sinbad's, but I don't live immediately adjacent to it like some of the other people here today, so they may be better placed to answer.
Okay. One further question. You've raised the past advertising and what is currently up on the premises as a concern. If the advertising were changed to make it more obvious what the virtual golf club is there to do, would that make you feel any happier?
It's rather hard to erase what's happened already, which is the word has got round that it's open to the public. So it depends very much on what the real intention is. And yes, it could be influenced by what we see, but really it's what the applicant is offering at the time that matters, and who he is offering this service to.
Thank you very much. Okay.
Not just the funds.
Okay, no. I presumably no further questions to Jane from, and I'm assuming that there's going to be no questions from the responsible authorities either. Is that right, from the licensing manager? No.
No, that's correct, Chair.
Not a party.
Okay.
No, nothing from me.
So the next person is. Sorry, I've lost you from the screen. Is it Mr. McGowan?
It'll be Mr. Shah next.
Is he still on? Oh, he is. I do beg your pardon. I lost you altogether there for a moment.
No, I think, yeah, from my perspective, Jane summarised this perfectly. Yeah, perfectly well. I kind of echo everything, all the comments she made. Yeah, as I say, my biggest concern is, you know, I feel that yeah, a lot of stuff is kind of going under the radar. The real intention isn't being kind of made clear. When it was first advertised, they were advertising a restaurant for, you know, serving grilled burgers and the like. I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. That's going to come back. But yeah, as I say, nothing, even again today, having heard everything about kind of the membership, the kind of membership procedure, kind of gives me comfort that this won't be used as anything but a bar with some golfing facilities.
Thank you very much. Any questions to Mr. Shah? Paul, Janice? No? Okay. Thank you very much indeed, Mr. Shah. Who's next? Is it Gupta, is that right? Next? Does anybody else want to come and, oh, there you go. Can you unmute? Oh.
Hello, can you hear me?
So difficult, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't want to repeat what everyone has said, but again, just referring to the fact that we are concerned about the disruption to a residence area, and also a little bit concerned that there would be further hours than applied for, that it will be on to late in the night. We across the back of the establishment, we have young children and all our small families. So, you know, any loud disruption with alcohol included is a concern for us.
Thank you very much. Applicant, is there anything you'd like to do in response to that?
No, I think any steps that we've taken to, you know, ensure that that doesn't happen.
Councillors, Paul, Janice? No? Okay. Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Sculptor. That's fine. I think that's the end of all the presentations. I have to ask the licensing officer now for any comments or clarifications. Anything that you want to add at this stage?
No, not really, Chair. Thank you. I think it's all been covered, and I haven't anything to bring up.
Okay, legal, Guy. Anything that we should have brought up? We haven't.
No, not really. I mean, I think we've gone through the. There are other pieces of legislation that do apply here: planning, fire regulation. Obviously, when you're making a decision, you're going to make a decision that promotes the licensing objectives. You're going to make a decision that is both proportionate and appropriate to the application and the proposal put forward. I will advise you later in deliberations.
Right, thank you very much indeed, Guy. Okay, so we're now down to the last bit, which is the closing statements. I don't think that the responsible authorities need to make a closing statement, but the interested party. Now, really, this is your opportunity to proceed down, given what you've heard. They disappeared. Oh, there they are. You know, exactly what you intend to do. I don't really want you going repeating the whole of the meeting to date, but this is your opportunity. You won't be. There won't be any questions from this. They are here. They've gone blank, but they are here. Don't you love technology, eh? While they're trying to get back in, can I thank everybody concerned? That's for their patience during the course of this meeting. It isn't easy. Go on then.
Sorry, we had a couple of connection issues.
I appreciate. Have you got a closing statement? A brief one?
Yeah, just to be brief. Obviously, you know, I know there's been a lot of concerns as to you know, what our intentions were, and you know, our main objective is to speak about what we intend to do going forward. You know, hence us making this application and why we've made the application. And you know, I think we've taken quite careful consideration into you know, ensuring that we stick to our responsibility. You know, if we are granted a license, you know, according to the guidelines that are set out for this type of thing. So you know, further to the responsibilities that we have as a licensed applicant, you know, I think we've really taken our time into making sure that we are on top of what is required.
Thank you very much indeed. Now I've got the three interested parties.
Sorry, no, that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, the summary is.
I do beg your pardon.
Down to the applicant as the last speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do beg your pardon. Right. Okay. What we're going to do now is we're now going to retire for a private session. Okay. And the legal officer and the clerk, that's Guy and Amy, they'll also be invited to retire to give us advice. And you'll get a written copy of the decision within 5 working days. And at this point, I'm closing the hearing because that's the way you have to do it, I'm afraid. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Listen, before I go,
thank you
very, very, very much indeed. First of all, for your patience with me. I've not done this before like this, but second of all, for your patience with the whole technology. And thank you, all of you, for taking part in this today. I think we've had a very thorough meeting, and now we're going to close it.